All right, so we're doing a quick video on how to adjust the valves on a Lifan Xpect. Super simple. I'm gonna get to the tools that you need. So you're gonna need a valve adjustment tool. So it's like a little 10 mil. I think it's also got a 8 mil on it or something. I'm not too sure. This is for adjusting the valve studs, or I don't know really what you call them. 10 mil to get the valve cover off, and then another wrench, just because the valve cover is kind of a pain in the ass. So you'll need kind of like a couple wrenches just to kind of get the easiest angle. 14 millimeter socket so we can turn the motor over to get it to TDC compression stroke. Flathead to get the caps off so we can access those bolts. 5 millimeter Allen head just to get the plastics off, and then a 5/8 spark plug socket. It's got that little bit of rubber in there. Get it focused. Just kind of helps the ceramic to not be broken, if that makes sense. Regular socket could potentially crack the ceramic on your spark plug, and that's got an impact I'm going to use to get the plastics off a little quicker. All right, so you got a bolt right there in the front, bolt right down there, and then a bolt right on the side here. Alrighty, so once you get the plastics off, we're going to take the spark plug out and take the valve cover off, and then these two caps right here. So this one and this one. All right, so I got all the bolts out. I wanted to leave the valve cover on real fast just to show you how I get it out. Must be a little tricky holding the camera, but let me see what I can do here. So you really can't take it out this way that easy. I always prefer going around this way, around the back here, which if you're sitting on the bike, it'd be your left side, and then kind of just fishing it forward like that. And you don't need to replace the gasket every time you do this. I have probably done, I don't know, 5 or 6 valve cover or valve adjustments. Never needed to replace it. It's one of those rubber gaskets like you see on cars, so it's pretty reusable. It doesn't need to be replaced. All right, bear with me. It's gonna be a little shaky because I'm not using my gimbal. This is just gonna be easier to hold with my hand. So I'm gonna be using this. It's like a little magnet probe, but the magnet side is gonna be outside the motor. People use like straws for like you get it like McDonald's or whatever, just like a plastic straw, and you're gonna stick it down the spark plug hole. Now I'm gonna wait a second and get it to TDC. So this is also much easier with the spark plug out, because once it builds compression, it's gonna kind of jump. You know, if I remember correctly, it should be the motor spins, I think counterclockwise. Yeah, counterclockwise. So you're gonna look here on the stator. Let's see here. Also wanna make sure you're not in gear. Hold up real fast. Okay, so I got it out of gear. Yeah, you also want to set it to neutral because you're spinning the motor and it will spin the wheel. So you want to kind of look here. Man, I wish I can get this to focus. There we go. Got one of these new iPhones and they kind of suck, honestly. So right there, I mean, it's pretty damn close. That line, and then there's that T. And you'll see the notch, like, let me try to get something to point here. Like right there, you want to get that line pretty damn close. This is fine, and the reason why it's okay is because this isn't staying here anyway. So we just really want to know that we're roughly in the area. So now you're going to stick whatever you got down into that spark plug hole. And see, it doesn't go far, because that piston, which it's probably not going to, well, you can probably see the top of the piston right there. It's pretty damn close to the top, because it's top dead center, TDC. So now what we're gonna do, actually I'm gonna set this up on a tripod so you can see what I'm doing a little better. All right, so the quality might be a little bit lower. I'm using my front camera so I can actually see that I'm filming the important part here. So you're gonna put your wrench back on the crankshaft, and you're gonna turn it. So we're gonna see here that as I turn it, this is gonna go down. And you do want to guide it because this spark plug hole goes at an angle, and like what you have will get pinched. And it'll kind of wedge itself in there, and then you got to kind of finagle it out. So we're just going to go real slow. And see the piston's still going down. Because it's doing that compression stroke right now, so it's would be sucking in air. And so, or intake stroke, my bad. And so now it's going back up. So now it's compression. So this is the part where it will get wedged in. So that's why I recommend using a fast food straw. Just so it's a little bendy, it's a little bit more forgiving. I'm just using this metal thing here. See, there we go, it gets stuck. See, now it's not gonna move anymore. So that piston is top dead center compression stroke. So now we can adjust the valves. Okay, so I wanted to make something clear real fast. This TDC method is kind of weird. So let me explain. So this bike specifically, when I set the TDC on the stator like I showed you, that on this bike for some reason is TDC compression. Now my buddy's Xpect that we bought like literally within the same day is not. You have to do the method that I just showed you. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I took the stator out, cleaned in here because I got water in the hole, and maybe I put it back on wrong. I don't know if it has to do with the difference between manufacture date. I have absolutely no idea. So what I recommend is if you don't know, which you're probably not going to, the best way to do it is do the method that I showed you. Put the valve cover back on, put this bolt and then diagonally across the other bolt on, run the bike, see if it ticks. If it ticks really badly, then reset the TDC based off of what this says, where there's the mark and the letter T, and then try it, and it'll probably be fine. I don't know why they're different. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's just something I found. If somebody knows and can explain it to me, that'd be great. But like I said, my best guess is that there's a difference between manufacturing dates. Maybe Lifan realized, like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why the hell does the stator say TDC if it's technically not where you need to be for the valve adjustment? I don't really know, but I just wanted to make that clear. So if you do the method that I do and your motor ticks, that's why. You got to redo it and try TDC based off of here. Or you could just try based off of here first. I mean, really whatever you want. But you might have to try it. But definitely put the valve cover back on and just do the two bolts. Do this one and the other one and try it that way. It'll probably it'll be a lot easier, because if you just lay it on there, it's gonna put oil everywhere, and if you leave these caps off too, it'll put oil everywhere. So just do that. It'll only take 10 minutes of your time to try it, because if it's ticking, you do not want to run it like that. It ain't gonna run right. It's gonna stall. It's gonna be low on power. So yeah, just give that a shot. I really wish I could explain why it is like this, but I honestly have no clue. Okay, so we're gonna get to adjusting the valves. I wanna make a quick correction. Most people use 0.03 on the intake, which is right here. This is intake. And most people use 0.05 on the exhaust. Now, the manual states use 0.05 on both, which I've tried before. Doesn't really work that well. Me personally, with my exhaust, I find that 0.04 on the intake and 0.05 on the exhaust seems to be the best setting. So really, you could play around with it, try it, run it a little bit, see how it runs with different settings. But really, actually, I used 0.04 the first time, and it worked fine. Then I used 0.03. Maybe it was placebo. It just felt like it kind of bogged down when I revved really fast. So who knows? But I stuck with 0.04. It probably wouldn't be the end of the world if you did something slightly different. Maybe you didn't have a 0.03 feeler gauge. So this is where these wrenches come in handy. So you'll see this 10 mil, well, probably the other side around. Yeah, goes onto there. And then this little square goes on that top of that stud. And so you kind of can like see there that you can adjust both at the same time. So I don't particularly do it that way. I find it easier to do this first, as I just kind of crack open these nuts real quick. And then we're gonna back off the stud. I just loosen them up. We're gonna start with the exhaust first. It's the easiest one to get to. I'm actually probably not gonna record me doing the intake because you're just gonna see my forearms the whole time. It's too far back there. They're both exactly the same in terms of how to do it. You're just using a different size feeler gauge. So what we're gonna do first is I take like a little bit of oil that's sitting here in the valve cover. I kind of just put it on my finger and then kind of just wipe this down, just so it's like a little bit lubricated. You don't want like a piece of debris in there and giving you a false reading. So let's see if I can do this in a way in which you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get this in there. You're gonna get it right in between there. So once you get in between there and it's sliding, then you can start adjusting. Okay, that looks a little bit better. And this is what I do, is I turn the stud with my finger until it's kind of close. And this is actually a lot easier when you're not recording, because then you can actually like not have to worry about blocking a camera. So see how it's kind of, there's some resistance there now. So what I'm gonna do is, I know I'm pretty damn close to where I need to be. So I'm gonna tighten this up a little bit, that nut. Because you don't wanna push it that easy. See, like there's some resistance when I push, but it drags. So I know I'm pretty much where I wanna be at. And don't stress out over this. Don't, you know, oh, is it ever so slightly too tight? It's not the end of the world. It, you know, as long as you get like relatively close, it'll be fine. It does not have to be completely perfect. This is a $2,000 Chinese dirt bike. This isn't a rocket, so it'll be just fine. I'm like that. I'm a goddamn perfectionist, so I freak out. Like, oh, is it perfect? And I've learned that if you're just pretty damn close, it'll be okay. So yeah, that's kind of how you want to have it. It doesn't really push that easy, but it drags with some good resistance. So what we're gonna do now is just tighten that nut up with your hand. Now this is what I do, is I'm gonna grab my wrench, my 10mm wrench, and I anticipate on it slightly loosening up. That's why I kind of do it a little tight. Because you got to really watch that stud. It will turn on you. Put that on there. Hold that stud stationary and tighten this nut up. And don't be afraid to tighten it real good. You're not going to break it. Obviously, don't torque it down like you're torquing down a lug nut or anything, but because let me tell you something, if you put these nuts on a little loose, they will vibrate off. Ask me how I know that. It sucks, and then you have to fish out the stud and the nut out of the head. It's a pain in the ass. So make sure you snug these down real good. I'll try to see if I can find a torque spec exactly for them, but good luck fitting a torque wrench in here. So I would just do like relatively snug. They should be okay. So I'm gonna get to doing the intake. Like I said, I'm not gonna film it because I don't think you're gonna be able to see anything. And it just goes the same as this. So I'm gonna do the intake, get everything back together, and see how she runs. Alrighty, so it's all done. I'm I already took it for a test drive, but just runs good. So you can see when you need a valve adjustment, you do that fast crank, it'll typically stall. But yeah, runs good. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just got to make sure you take the steps properly. But if you need any help, just ask in the comments. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching.